What's up, guys? Let's see, my live? Just checking. Awesome. Perfect. All right, we're on for part two of prosperity for the masses. Let me just get my screen ready for you. Okay, so if you missed yesterday, what I covered was I covered the basics of what crypto is, what kind of uses we're seeing nowadays that is basically potentially can replace some of the traditional things that we use, in terms of banking, like getting a loan, getting more out of your savings account, stuff like that. So if you missed part one, and maybe you're completely new to the crypto space and you're like trying to educate yourself with some getting started information, part one would be a great place to start for sure. But if you're already here, we'll dive in. Even if you don't know what I talked about in part one, this would also still make sense. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to share some slides. For those of you that are watching, welcome. And let me know at any time if you guys have any questions. So this is part two, and today we're going to talk about mass adoption. So are we ready for this? And where are we seeing, which areas of our society are we seeing this mass adoption? And so that's what I'm going to show you where this is happening. So why is the crypto industry growing so fast? I mentioned that in part one, where this industry is growing faster than the internet, which is crazy because, internet just went boom, basically, right? And it's not something that we expected, but with crypto, we're seeing it growing even faster, which is crazy, right? So let's start with Bitcoin, and showing this table right here on the left is basically showing us how big of an increase it has already. And this is just in, from 2011 to 2021. In the last 10 years, it has been the best asset class in terms of appreciation, right? In terms of growth. So that's what that thing is showing compared to, like, let's say NASDAQ or other assets that are available to us, right? And then this one was a headline back in March 2021 where it says Bitcoin was the best performing asset of the past decade by 1,000%. 1,000% is pretty huge, right? And so why is it growing so fast? Part of it is because of the uses that I talked about in part one. And then you're going to see a lot of different industries are adopting it now, as we speak at an even faster rate. And so if you look at this one right here, it's basically showing a comparison of, at the very top, it's showing you, so let's say if you invested $1,570, that's basically $10 a week for 3 years. If you were to do that, your Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin, just one crypto, right, which is the first and most popular one, it would have grown in 3 years to 8,279. So that's a growth of 427%. Now, if you were to compare that to gold, the gold would have only grown by 12.23%. And then if you were to compare it to dollars, it would have grown by 25%. So Bitcoin wins, like, by far. It's like the, like, clear winner, right? And it's been around for 10 years. And if you look at any of the last 5 years that it's been around, you're gonna see that it is growing all the time. So it's on an uptrend, right? So what do power players have to say about crypto? So Mark Cuban said about blockchain, it's like the early days of the internet when a lot of people thought we were crazy, right? And we already said this is growing faster than the internet already, right? And then Elon Musk, which is very much known about basically a fan of Bitcoin and blockchain in general and crypto in general. He says, I might pump, but I don't dump. Like he basically holds on to his Bitcoin long term, right? And why that's a good strategy. I'll show you guys that in session 4. We don't have time to talk about that today, but it's gonna be really, really awesome for those of you that tune in, all the way from part 1 to part whatever, however we're gonna do this for. So billionaire Paul Tudor Jones says that this is a great way to basically fight inflation. Um, I don't know about you, but if a billionaire talks, I'm gonna listen, right? Because of the gains that I just showed you in a couple slides ago, 427% potentially, right? Anywhere from 300 to 400% is really awesome to fight inflation. If our money is going down in value, which it has gone down by I think 43%, right? We're seeing that in the higher prices that we're paying for, you know, regular goods nowadays, right? So what are the major banks doing? These are just some examples. So Citigroup claims that Bitcoin is at the tipping point to become mainstream. This is really one of the reasons why I am going live about this and informing people about, at least know the basics, at least know what's going on with big companies, with people that are seeing what's going on in the marketplace, because this is about to go mainstream. Like I might be one of the first one that maybe you've heard talk about this, maybe. And if so, it's time to start tuning in and start to pay attention to what's going on in this space, right? Wells Fargo said that it's set to offer crypto fund to rich clients. So it makes you wonder, why are they only offering it to the rich people, right? Buy crypto, let's say from PayPal or Venmo nowadays. If you have a PayPal account, the PayPal app or the Venmo app, you can see that you can now buy crypto from those, right? So, I mean, it's available to you now. You don't have to wait for a regular bank to offer it to you. But if the major banks are doing it, that means that they're seeing this trend. They want to get in on the trend and they're going to do something about it. So get in, because this is about to go mainstream, right? America's oldest bank, BNY Mellon, will store Bitcoin, right? This was just a few days ago. That's crazy. And then JP Morgan says that Bitcoin could rise to $146,000 long term as it competes with gold. This was back in January 5th, 2021. Hey, Janet, nice to see you again. So I think that's the last slide. Oh, actually, Morgan Stanley becomes the first big US bank to offer its wealthy clients access to Bitcoin funds. Again, don't wait until your bank offers it. Take advantage of it now. I'll talk a little bit more about how to buy crypto, where to buy, where's the best place to buy, all that stuff tomorrow, so that you can get started with just a small thing, right? If you can start putting away, let's say, coffee money, right? Something that you would spend at Starbucks, now it can literally change your life. Today, later on, 3 years from now, it doesn't matter, as long as you do something. It doesn't matter how small it is, because this is an asset that appreciates over 400%, right? So if you think about that in those terms, your $10 a week can grow to $8,000 in 3 years. It's not life-changing money, so if you can put a little bit more, I would highly advise that. But get in now while you can. So what are some major companies doing? This is just a small sample of some major companies that have hired, people that are basically skilled in this technology, and they're starting to look into how can they develop their own crypto, how can they take advantage of blockchain as a technology to basically streamline their companies, right? It is just amazing that it not only affects the cryptocurrency world, it's also going to change the technology world in general. It's been changing the art industry, changing the sports industry. So many industries are going to be changed by this. And this is just the beginning. This small handful of companies are it's just the beginning of who's taking advantage of this right now as we speak. What are some countries doing? So if big companies are doing it, countries are doing it too. I mentioned in part one that El Salvador made it legal just this month to basically use it as, a form of currency that they can use legally, right? And on the right side, you'll see that Japan is also looking into it. India is also looking into it. Cuba is also looking into it, right? And so I'll read this about Cuba. It says the country's 3 billion annual revenue from remittances, right? So basically, these are people sending money to their families, let's say from the U.S. to Cuba, right? And basically, Western Union is basically be really worried, and I would be too if I were Western Union, because they're gonna lose a lot of the fees, the massive fees that they used to charge Cubans, right? And so this is it says here, the photographer says this is bigger than just making money. This is really freedom. And that's ultimately what I saw when I first started looking into this space, and my mentor started basically putting a spotlight in this industry. And I'm just like, wow. I started looking more deeper into how is this going to benefit the masses? How is this going to change our life? And really, it is freedom. And it is like for the first time in human history, we're not going to be relying on banks. We're not going to be relying on government to basically create financial freedom in its truest sense, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching about this and informing people about this. I don't care how, if there's one person watching this live video right now, because I know that I'll be proven right. And that I want you to know about this. So if you are connected to me, you're watching this live video, good job on staying tuned to these videos, these series, because it's gonna change your life if you pay attention. I'm not giving financial advice, but I'm just saying get in where you can, when you can, because this is gonna blow up, and I'm gonna be proven right pretty soon here. Maybe in a year or so, maybe sooner. So yeah, I mean that's it for today about mass adoption. Part one was about the basics, common uses that we're seeing now that are available to you now. And then today is about adoption. And then tomorrow is going to be, so if you are looking into this to invest, and maybe just use it as a savings account, right? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to go about it? Which places are you going to go to in order to basically get the lowest fees, get the best deal in terms of interest rates and stuff like that? How do you even buy it? Stuff like that. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, because I want to keep these videos short and sweet. But if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, whether you're watching the live or the replay. I'll be happy to answer them. And also share the video if you found it valuable. If you know somebody who might benefit from this, definitely share it or tag them on the video. Help somebody else, right? And pass on the information if you think it's going to be valuable to them. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. I can't say same time because my schedule is crazy. But I will be here. Hopefully you'll be here as well. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.